Jake Paul, the controversial YouTube star turned boxer, has once again made waves in the boxing world, hinting at a potential showdown with current IBF World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Dubois following his recent victory over boxing legend Mike Tyson. Known for facing opponents with less than ideal records or those past their prime, Paul's victory over the 58-year-old Tyson has sparked a renewed debate about his legitimacy as a serious boxer. However, Paul's recent comments suggest he might be gearing up for a real test by accepting a challenge from Dubois, a rising heavyweight star. Dubois, who claimed the IBF heavyweight title by knocking out Anthony Joshua just 2 months ago, has been vocal about his interest in facing Paul. This challenge marks a significant step for Paul, as Dubois is one of the most formidable up-and-coming heavyweights in the world, currently holding a title that few other fighters in the division can claim. The public challenge came in a message posted on social media, where Dubois directly called out Paul, "Hi Jake. Good business on the weekend, but how would you feel fighting for the legitimate heavyweight championship of the world? This is Daniel Dubois calling you out. Let's get it on." In typical Jake Paul fashion, he responded with a blend of humor and cockiness. Posting a picture of a tape measure with a witty caption, Paul joked, "Get in line." He followed this up by taking a jab at Dubois's record, which includes over 100 fights between his amateur and professional career. Paul's retort played on the fact that Dubois had even fought on Paul's undercard in the past. Despite this playful mockery, Paul didn't dismiss the challenge outright and teased the possibility of a fight by saying, "But F it. I'm going to have Nakasa talk to Frankie Warren and get you in line for the throne. Unlike Artur, at least you have a few thousand fans." The challenge from Dubois comes after a flurry of offers from other notable figures in the boxing world. Shortly after his win against Tyson, Paul found himself the subject of calls for a fight from other top-tier boxers, including Artur Beterbiev, the reigning undisputed light heavyweight champion. While Paul has yet to confirm his next opponent, the offer from Dubois seems to be one of the most serious contenders. Dubois, known for his formidable punching power, recently made waves by securing the IBF title with a dominant knockout over former champion Anthony Joshua. His rise to the top of the heavyweight division makes him one of the most dangerous fighters in the division, and a fight between him and Paul would certainly attract significant attention. Despite the bravado, many in the boxing world are skeptical about whether Paul will actually step into the ring with Dubois. Given the size and power difference between the two, Dubois is a massive, explosive heavyweight with years of experience. Paul would be entering into one of the most dangerous matchups of his boxing career. Though Paul has improved his skills since making his transition from YouTube to the boxing ring, his opponents so far have been far from elite competitors. Most notably, his victories have come against former UFC fighters and aging legends, such as Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, and Anderson Silva, with his most recent win coming over a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who, despite his legendary status, was clearly past his prime. If Paul does accept the challenge, it would mark a bold move, positioning him against one of the most promising young fighters in the heavyweight division. At 27, Paul has spoken openly about his goal of becoming a world champion in boxing, and facing Dubois could be the next step toward achieving that. However, Paul's ambitions are not without their challenges. He has often been criticized for choosing opponents that, while notable, don't carry the same level of threat as some of the top fighters in the sport. A win over Dubois could go a long way towards silencing his critics and proving that he can hold his own against legitimate boxing talent. For his part, Paul has been adamant that he is rapidly improving in the sport. In a recent interview, he shared his belief that he is slowly improving and that he has already sparred with world champions, holding his own in training sessions. Paul's confidence is clear, and he has expressed that he believes he could become a dominant world champion within the next few years. His plan is ambitious, but it's also based on an undeniable drive to continue improving, which is something that could serve him well in the long run if he sticks to his commitment to the sport. Paul has made no secret of his desire to challenge the best in boxing, and his statements about eventually becoming a dominant world champion and knocking someone out for the belt show that he is focused on reaching the pinnacle of the sport. However, whether he is ready to take on a world-class heavyweight like Dubois remains to be seen. Dubois, who has already shown that he can take down some of the top fighters in the division, would be a tough challenge for Paul, and a loss in such a high-profile matchup could put a serious dent in Paul's career aspirations. The call-out from Dubois is just one of many that Paul has received in recent months. However, this challenge stands out as one of the most legitimate, as Dubois is not only a current champion but also a fighter with a clear path to continued success in the heavyweight division. A fight between Paul and Dubois could also serve as a litmus test for Paul's true capabilities as a boxer, as it would pit him against an opponent who is in his prime and has the physical tools to overwhelm Paul in the ring. Ultimately, Jake Paul's decision on whether to face Dubois will likely come down to a combination of factors: the financial incentives, the personal desire to prove himself in the sport, and the potential risk of taking on a much bigger, stronger opponent. However, if Paul does decide to take the challenge, it will likely serve as a defining moment in his boxing career. Fans and critics alike are watching closely to see if he is truly ready to take on a fighter like Daniel Dubois, and whether he can back up his claims of being a future world champion with a victory in the ring. The coming months will likely reveal whether Jake Paul's dream of becoming a dominant force in boxing will come to fruition, or whether his career will be defined by his ability to pick and choose his opponents.